American Giant makes great clothing, sweatshirts, jeans, and more, right here in the U.S. Visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com, code STAPLE20.
If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths, and sometimes heights, to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, welcome back to Under the Influence, the Dark Side of Fame. I am Alexis Knight, and in this part 2 of 3, we are continuing our deep dive into the O.J. Simpson case. We are in part 2, the verdict and beyond. Okay, so this O.J. Simpson case, we are going to focus on the trial's dramatic conclusion here and the lasting impact of Simpson's fame on the case, the public, and the judicial system. Now, in the last episode, the first episode, we talked about how Simpson's charisma and public image influenced everything from the media coverage to the jury's perception to the public. And now we're going to explore how that influence persisted even after the verdict was delivered. The trial of O.J. Simpson, it was unlike anything the American legal system had seen before. This was not just a trial, this was a spectacle, with every moment broadcast on live TV. The courtroom became a stage, and the lawyers, the witnesses, and even the judge became characters in a drama that captivated the nation. The defense team, led by Johnny Cochran, understood the power of this spectacle, and they used it to their advantage, crafting a narrative that played to the emotions of the jury and the public. Cochran's strategy was to focus on the broader issues of race and justice, framing Simpson as a victim of a racist system. And his famous line, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." This became a rallying cry for those who believed that Simpson was being unfairly targeted because of his race. The prosecution, led by Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden, struggled to counter this narrative. They had the evidence on their side, but in a trial where perception was everything, they found themselves on the defense. The prosecution's attempts to focus on the physical evidence, the blood, the gloves, the timeline, they were all often overshadowed by the defense's emotional appeals. And did you catch it? The trial's duration, which stretched over 8 months, it only added to this sense of spectacle. The longer the trial went on, the more it became ingrained into the public consciousness. People tuned into this every day. They were eager to see the latest developments, and the media coverage kept the case in the spotlight. By the time the jury was ready to deliberate, the O.J. Simpson trial had become more than just a legal proceeding. It had become a cultural phenomenon. On October 3rd in 1995, the jury delivered its verdict of not guilty. The decision shocked the nation and exposed deep racial and social divides. For many African Americans, the verdict was seen as a victory against a system that had long been biased against them. O.J. Simpson's acquittal was celebrated in some communities as a form of justice, not just for Simpson, but for all of those who had ever been wronged by the legal system. But then there were others, particularly the families of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Remember them? The verdict was a miscarriage of justice to them. They believed that Simpson's fame and the defense's ability to completely shift the focus away from the evidence, it all had allowed a guilty man to go free. The verdict for them was a painful reminder of how the power of celebrity can overshadow the pursuit of truth. The public reaction to the verdict was polarizing. In some neighborhoods, people cheered and celebrated, and in others, there was just anger and complete disbelief. The trial had laid bare the racial tensions that had simmered beneath the surface of American society, and the verdict became a flashpoint for discussions about race, justice, and the influence of fame. Even after the verdict, O.J. Simpson's fame continued to play a role in how the case was perceived. Simpson remained a public figure, and his life post-trial was closely followed by the media. Despite the acquittal, the civil trial that followed resulted in Simpson being found liable for the wrongful deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, and the jury awarded $33.5 million to the victims' families. The civil verdict here was seen by many as a form of delayed justice, but it also highlighted the ongoing influence of Simpson's celebrity status. Even after being held liable in court, Simpson's fame ensured that he remained in the public eye, with many people continuing to debate his guilt or his innocence. The case had also a long-lasting impact on the legal system and the media. The trial's unprecedented media coverage set a new standard for how high-profile cases would be covered in the future, with the lines between news and entertainment becoming increasingly blurred. This case also raised questions about the influence of race and celebrity in the legal system, questions that they continued to resonate still today. As we reflect on this O.J. Simpson case, it's clear that his fame and his charisma, and I talked about this in the beginning in episode 1, this played a very significant role in every single aspect of this trial. And I mean, from the initial investigation, because of course, oh my gosh, it's O.J., to the verdict, and then beyond that. Simpson's status as a celebrity influenced the entire way this case was perceived and ultimately decided. This trial was not just about justice. It was about the power of fame to shape reality, to bend the truth, and to influence the minds of those involved. But what does that say about us as a society? Why are we so easily swayed by celebrity? Why do we allow fame to overshadow facts? And why do we allow charisma to cloud our judgment? We get entranced with this stuff. These are questions that go beyond the O.J. Simpson case. He is the example here. This all touches on the very nature of fame and its impact on our culture and our legal system. Okay, so in this second part, and remember there are 3 parts to this. If you didn't listen to part 1, go back and get it. You always want all of them. Now, in the second part here, though, we explored the O.J. case some more, diving into the trial, the verdict, and then this long-lasting impact that the Simpson fame and the case, all of it, had on society as a whole across the United States and elsewhere in the world. But this story, it doesn't just end there with that verdict. So in part 3, our final part here, we are going to take a look at the even broader implications of this case. How this case, all by itself, has changed the way we think of fame and justice and the power of influence. It was just too big, and they brought it to everyone's living room. You almost could not avoid it. You really would have had to try to avoid it at the time. All right, on to part 3. Stick around. This is Alexis Knight, and you're listening to Under the Influence, the Dark Side of Fame. Stay tuned.